Futures now, old man.
What it do? Free agency coming through. This is Future First Podcast, where we help you win today with the Future First mindset. I'm your co-host J-Mac, here with my co-host Jose. What up, dude?
What's up, man? How you doing out there, Future First gang? Hope everybody's had a fun free agency. That was the next little tidbit right after the combine. Now we get to wait for the NFL draft to roll through. But yeah, man, it was exciting. Had some big moves. We did it, even dropped an emergency podcast. Hope you guys caught that during the week. We recorded that to kind of react to some of that. Today, I think we're going to go over that a little bit more from the sky high view. But how you been, J-Mac?
I've been good, man. Yeah, it's been a busy day. It's been a busy week. Yeah, that was probably like one of the most exciting free agencies I feel like we've had in quite a while. I don't know if you're on the same page there.
Yeah, I mean, it was lacking a little bit in like the wide receivers. I think there's
Yeah.
been some years where it was wide receiver heavy instead of running back heavy. But I mean, we got some big contracts. I think there wasn't a ton of um, fantasy casualties, at least in single player names. I think we're going to talk about, like I said, some more teams that we're not so high on. But otherwise, it was pretty exciting. I mean, it was nice to see where some of these guys went, especially a couple running backs that we're going to talk about here in the quick hit. But yeah, man, it was exciting. It's always good when free agencies, pretty hype.
Yeah, what we lacked in wide receivers, I mean, we had some quarterbacks. Usually you don't have any quarterbacks or a lot of them making splashes. We had quite a few here, and then I mean some tight ends too. There was quite a few tight ends. And honestly, there's still dominoes to fall. Like at tight end, Dallas Goedert is still kind of floating out there, and I feel like there was another one too. But yeah, I mean it's been great so far. So we'll get into that. And in case you guys find someone on here that we're not talking about, look back at that previous episode that Jose was just mentioning on the emergency pod. We probably talked about them there. We talked about a good chunk of them that went through on Monday, at least. So we can cover some of the other ones here today. But before we dive into that, we're still doing the roster reviews. Hit us up. We got a couple more. We got them done. We did an FFPC roster review for someone who was looking for an honest opinion on whether or not their $500 league fee was worth reinvesting into for the 2026 season. Shout out to Curdy. Talked to him today. He said they orphaned the thing. They burned it down, and it was a good run, and they're done with it. So, but nonetheless, if you are looking for a roster review, you can email us at futurefirstpod@gmail.com. And if you're interested, we'll send you more information on that. It is $5 a team at this time. So we hope to hear from you guys. We love doing these things. They're a ton of fun for us, and we've had a lot of good feedback on them. So hit us up. If you're watching this on YouTube, make sure to touch down on that like button and go for 2 on that subscribe. Or don't. Actually, you know what? I dare you. I dare you not to touch that button. Don't do it. I dare you. Yeah. If you hit that button, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know. But be sure to drop a comment in while you're there. If you're catching this on the Player Profiling Network, you can follow us directly on our YouTube channel at Future First Pod. It goes a long way to go over there and hit that subscribe button and give us a like over there as well. You can also follow us on any place you get your podcasts, Spotify, Apple Pods, all the above. You can follow, rate the show there. Drop us a 5-star review. Shout out to Fox, who's been helping us with our graphics. She dropped a new article also over on the Fantasy Footballers. I think she did the one on Elijah Surratt. So she did like a little, what do you call it? Like a rookie prospect article. It's a good read. So if you guys haven't, get over there. If you follow her on X at bfoxworth07, I'm sure she's got a link there. And then shout out to McGrumble at ff_McGrumble. He also has an article coming out over on Rotoballer. He was talking about some running back buys for Fantasy Dynasty. Unfortunately, the editor got it out a week late after the NFL free agency had already rolled out. So some of the stuff on there was a little outdated, unfortunately. poor McGrumble. He was grumbling to me about that over in Discord the other day. All right, man. You ready to dive into this free agency winners and losers?
Yeah, the only comment I was gonna make, let your grandma know, make a YouTube account for your dog or something. A couple of our videos have been really close to breaking 100 views. For us, that's pretty cool. I checked one of them the other day was at 99. So, if you guys are out there, tell your sister, your brother, your uncle, your neighbor, whoever. It would be really cool to get a couple of these videos to, the triple digits as, small content creators. That means a lot. So, if you guys are out there, we really appreciate those that are sticking with us and watching us regularly. But yeah, man, let's do it.
I didn't know that. I didn't know we were at 99. That's good news, man. All right. Yeah, get your dog on here, you guys. What are you doing?
Or your cat, I don't know, your parrot, whatever. They can have YouTube accounts. Get your AI, accountant or whoever.
Probably want a YouTube.
Exactly.
All right, let's get into this. All right, in our quick hit here, we're going to talk about the big splashes in the free agency market here at the top and how we like these running back new landing spots between Kenneth Walker III and Travis Etienne. Etienne Jr. I don't know if you saw that, but apparently
No,
we've
it's
been
Etienne. I
pronouncing
don't
it.
care. Stop. You can't tell me you've been in the league 8 years or however, and then we're gonna tell me your name
Hey
is
man,
wrong. No,
hey,
no, stop it.
I kind of like him a little better now that you say Etienne. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
it's
exactly.
got a little more appeal to it.
All right, J Mac, without even thinking about it, after you take your sip of water, Kenneth Walker finishes as the running back what next year?
I'm gonna conservatively go like 8.
Wow, that's conservative.
Dude, people are putting him at like running back 5. It's
Yeesh.
wild.
Yeah, I mean, I think eight would be like the top end. I think he's pretty solidly a running back one. I would put him 8 to 12 range. Like I could see that. Let's see how the offense develops and what they do with him, like how much work is he going to get. But yeah, I mean, that was kind of my thought with this segment was just first off, like how high do we project them to go? And I think when you're talking about dynasty, obviously it can change where you would have them ranked.
That's
But I think if you're a contender, the way I at least play contending is I treat it as a 1 year season. I treat it almost like a redraft season because I'm trying to win that year and then I can figure out the rest. So for me, if you're a contender and you're looking, I want a running back piece. How high can I get with Kenneth Walker? Like how high of a ceiling am I getting? And then how do you feel about Etienne? I mean, obviously there's a lot of news about Kamara. Is he retiring? Is he sticking around? Are they going to cut him? There's a lot of stuff going on there. Let's just say that Kamara is on the team. How high do you think Etienne could finish next year?
I'm pretty high on Etienne. I love the fit with Kellen Moore. He's been an offensive coordinator that gets the most out of his pieces. I like the way he schemes things up and getting those kind of play actions, mixing things up, getting them out wide. So I like Etienne. I'm gonna make it a thing. Here we. I don't really don't even know how to say it. Like even as he said it, I was confused. I was like, what? Like I
The
don't
letters
understand.
in the name don't make that sound type of thing.
No, I'm gonna put him. Man, I mean, if I'm just saying off the top of my head, I'm thinking like a back end RB1, high end RB2 is kind of like a median, what it feels like for me. I'm not super worried about Kamara. I don't think that's something we need to worry about. If even if he is involved, I don't know how long it will be for, because he's not been durable at all over these past couple years. So yeah, I think that kind of feels right to me. It's kind of like a let's just call it RB12 at this point.
Yeah, I think I'm a little bit lower. I think just in general, Etienne has always been somebody I've been a little bit lower on in the market. So I was thinking like running back 15, running back 14, that around that sort of ranking. I don't know, blank there. For Dynasty, who would you rather have?
Kenneth Walker. I mean, it's just age and um, like situation, right? I feel like I think I like the role better for Etienne, but Kenneth Walker is just you can't deny that it's the Chiefs and that he's 25, right? Is that what he is?
Yeah, 25 and a half, I think,
Yeah.
somewhere like right there.
I think I don't know. I think that's probably overwhelmingly consensus in my eyes. Are you seeing it the same way?
Yeah, 100%. I'm just having a hard time dynasty wise, like putting him in there, like where exactly where. Like I feel like it's very hard. Like I think he's right in the tier with like a Travion Henderson, a Bucky Irving, a Brees Hall, a Kenneth Walker, right? Like him within those with those players kind of feels like very close, right? Like I think James Cook, Jonathan Taylor, and the rest of the guys that you'd be at like top five, not including Love in that equation, are very squarely, I think, ahead of him for me. So I think he comes out around what I think he would be for redraft next year, right? Like a ceiling of like a top five, like the bottom of five, and then the back end of like a running back one, which is like top 12, right? That's where I think he is dynasty wise. Um,
So it's
I
like
don't, I,
6 or 7 then? You're right around there? Yeah. Damn.
something like that. Nah, no, I think a little bit lower. I think maybe from like 8 to 10 or 8 to 12. Like it, his redraft ranking to me matches his dynasty at least right now, without Love and some movement from one of these other guys, like him and Bucky Irving or him and Brees Hall. I mean, Brees Hall at least for this season probably under Kenneth Walker, but him and Chase Brown, him and Travion Henderson. Like I feel like come draft for redraft, I know we're a long time for that. Those are kind of the choices you have to make. But in Dynasty, if you really feel strongly about one of those guys, maybe you think Chase Brown is the guy and he's way better positioned than Kenneth Walker. They're right around the same age. Maybe you go make that swap. I think those are kind of the edges where if you think one of these guys is more likely to have like a top five season and maybe the consensus is not on your side, you can trade, for example, Kenneth Walker if people are as high as you're talking about on him. And maybe just do a 1-for-1 running back swap and get an extra second or get a maybe even a first, depending on how high people are on Kenneth Walker and how low they might be on one of these guys.
So what are you paying for Kenneth Walker in terms of picks?
I mean, I think it's probably a first and a second at least, right? It feels like. I don't. Is he in two first territory? You think? You think the hype is so much right now that it's probably two first? I
I'm
don't
not
want to
paying.
pay. I'm
I'm
not.
not paying two
Well,
first.
the difference is what will I pay and what could I actually get him for, right? Like
Right.
I feel like he's probably two first. Like I feel like the owner, whoever has Kenneth Walker, is they were rubbing their hands after he got the Super Bowl MVP, and then he lands probably in one of the best situations possible. So I think he probably isn't taking more than anything less than two firsts. Um, but I'm not
Yeah.
paying that. I think the most I'd pay for Kenneth Walker if I had the capital and I was thinking, hey, I'm one running back away, or I'm one running back of like securing another title or a good run, a first and a second, because I think a lot of the other guys around that tier that don't have as many that are kind of just as solid, I feel like go for the same price, right? Like a buck, like not to repeat the same names, but like Bucky Irving, Chase Brown, I feel like
Mm.
probably in the same. Trayvon Henderson maybe a little bit less, maybe a little bit more, but his situation is way more volatile. So
Okay. Yeah, that's fair. I mean, I've made offers of a first and a second for him already, and I feel like that's fair.
yeah,
Um, and I think he came back asking for like a third on top and some fab, and I was just like, it's a best ball league, so like thirds are not nothing. Like those can go a long way in season to like just acquire some gross production. So I was like, I don't need him. So I was like, I kind of got to back off of it on that. Like I want him. I'm willing to pay market price for him, but I'm not gonna like, go above and beyond to try and get him. So I kind of held at that, and respectfully, he walked away. So yeah,
and if we were talking about like a first this year where we know who roughly what the players are, do you think if it was like a top four pick, it could get done straight up, or do you think it would need to still be a second thrown in there on top of it?
no, I think I think if you gave him like a top five pick in this year's draft, so long as like that's very team dependent. I feel like, right? Is it if someone is trying to get out of Kenneth Walker because they're going into a rebuild or their team is just trash, then it makes sense, I think, to just take the 105 and kind of re-roll it and get the 4 years of age that you would get on one of these younger guys. But I'm honestly like I just don't mind holding and waiting for more hype to kind of come. And I feel like the price will rise, especially when redraft season hits. And he's gonna inevitably be a second round pick, probably. Like maybe
Yeah,
higher.
first, end of the first, early second. Yeah, definitely. I could see it.
Yeah. Okay.
What? Yeah, I think that's pretty
I
good. I
was
mean, Etienne. I think Kenneth Walker is a more interesting player. Do you want to,
yeah.
any
I mean
other
I've
thoughts on Etienne?
yeah, I've been offering, my contenders future first for him, so like a 2027 for him, and I haven't really been able to get anything done, which is kind of strange. Is like, what's the gap between Etienne and Kenneth Walker, right? It's like if we're talking about in terms here, like a first doesn't get it done for Etienne, but then a first and a second is close for Kenneth Walker. So like, it seems like they're going to be closer than we think they should be in terms of dynasty. So I don't know. I don't know. I haven't seen what Etienne's been going for. Have you seen anything? I'm gonna pull it up on Dynasty
No,
Daddy.
but almost all the rankings that I've been looking at, Etienne has been a decent amount, like either 5 to 6 dynasty ranking spots lower than Kenneth Walker. I'm guessing that's just the age playing the biggest factor there for dynasty. But yeah, I mean, I think in terms of like their top end, I think Kenneth Walker still just has that because of the home runs and what he could do, right? Like what he would have been able to do last year if he wasn't getting all those touchdowns stolen from him. Etienne had a lot of big games, but they were off receiving work and just kind of like crazy blow up games with Trevor Lawrence there too. So I don't know. I definitely think that Etienne for our first, that feels just about right. Maybe a first and a third then instead, like nothing crazy. But I don't know. To me, a third is depending on the league, like easy to throw away. Like you were talking about, if it was a best ball, maybe that's a little bit different. But
It's like what I'm looking at on Dynasty Daddy right now is it's around a first. In some leagues we see more than a first, in some leagues we see less than a first. So I think it's just gonna be what the manager thinks of Etienne. And like there are some ridiculous. I don't know if this is real, but Brian Thomas and the 110 for Travis Etienne, like that must be like a point per carry league or something. That seems a little wild otherwise.
yeah,
Yeah. Okay, cool. Why don't we get out of this lingering hit here? And we're gonna pause here and let the Podfather tell you guys about the Dynasty Deluxe.
If you play in Dynasty, you need Dynasty Deluxe, our premium package for Dynasty Leaguers. We rank over 300 players, updated every week, all year long. And there's a win now mode and a rebuild mode with Superflex and tight end premium controls. And a Dynasty League sync where you can say, sync down all of my sleeper teams, all my FFPC teams. And then you can browse around your leagues for who has needs. And then you can use our trade finder to see what kinds of trades are happening in leagues that are similar to the one I want to do. Then you can analyze trades using our trade analyzer, which balances the lifetime value, which includes pick values out to like 2028. All of that plus the rookie guide, $25 value is included. So if you're just in one Dynasty League, Dynasty Deluxe is well worth it. And use your host's promo code, and you can bump up to all in and get $25 off.
All right, welcome back. We're shifting away from those running back free agents, and we're just going to get into all the free agents, the winners and losers that we have here. So, Jose, you want to just kick it off here with the winners that we see in the league?
yeah. I mean, I think kind of just piggybacking off that lingering segment. Kenneth Walker and the Chiefs, just in general, feel like winners, right? Patrick Mahomes, all the pass catchers, Kelsey coming back from a year ago. If he's on any team that isn't a contender, go pick up Kelsey because no reason why he shouldn't be. Rashee Rice, if he's on the field, and pretty much anybody else, I think having a good running game only helps, right? It only helps the entire offense. If Mahomes is able to come back, let's see when exactly he can come back from that ACL tear. But in general, I think it's just good for the entire Chiefs offense. and that's kind of how we're looking at these winners and losers, let alone just from players. I mean, obviously, you guys will hear tons of about how all these players are winners. Obviously, they got big bags and went to good teams, but looking at it from a whole team perspective, it's all but good news for Chiefs. If you have Patrick Mahomes in Dynasty and your Superflex, I think you're looking at an up year. And same goes for all the pass catchers. A good run game only helps the entire team. So only good things there. You want to jump in on the Chiefs there? Should we go to the next one? How do you want to?
No, yeah, let's. I'll dive into it a little bit here. I mean, we got some time, so yeah. I mean, we kind of talked a lot about Kenneth Walker there. He's got the upsides with the situation, perceiving to be, the three down back, which is, good in terms of his usage and what we want to see from him fantasy points wise. Does he hold up to that usage, to be determined? Travis Kelce getting re-signed is big, like, especially if you have Travis Kelce. You're like, hey, I just got another year. This guy won't die. I am loving it. And you got to feel good about it too. And I think we talked about it, how his deal has incentives on it. It's a $12 million deal, but can be worth up to like 15 million or something like that. So you like to see that, give him a little bit of incentive to score us more fantasy points. I guess I wanted to talk about too. I don't know that I'm necessarily buying into Kenneth Walker being that main guy there, but there's nobody else, right? I mean, they signed Amari DiMercato. They still have Brashard Smith. Are you okay taking like flyers on those guys if they're on waivers or whatever, in the off chance that Kenneth Walker isn't the three down back?
Yeah, I mean, I think it's a good shot to take just because Kenneth Walker hasn't always been able to stay healthy. So there, it's a good kind of handcuff. Apart from that, in like the deeper dynasty league where those are kind of the guys that going into the season you want to maybe start picking up and rostering if you don't have a ton of picks to fill in your the back of your bench. I think it's a good idea, but I honestly don't think they paid Kenneth Walker all that money to have him be a guy they're splitting time. Obviously, he's going to have to get rest. Nobody really is on the field, but 200 plus touches, receptions. He's shown he could catch the ball. He was extremely explosive for the Seahawks. And, I think Andy Reid can put him in some of the same situations. Obviously, it's not the same scheme, but either way, like I think he can only benefit from an upgrade, I think, at coach and an upgrade at quarterback, right? Like everything around him has just improved pretty significantly, I would say. Maybe not the offense as a whole because you don't have JSN, but in terms of what you have with the play caller and the quarterback, and kind of the way that Mahomes can make any play, a scramble drill and just get you a dump off or a screen, whatever. I think Kenneth Walker is only going to benefit from all of that. So I definitely think that unless something crazy happens at the draft, which would just make absolutely no sense, there's not really any guy in this draft class like deep into the third day that they could be adding that would scare me. So I think it just wheels up Kenneth Walker all the way until either he breaks down or otherwise he's their main guy.
Okay. One other move I wanted to touch on was they brought Tyquan Thornton back for nothing special. You got 2 years for $11 million, especially for a wide receiver. That's almost nothing. It screams role player. But I mean, he was used quite a bit with Rashee Rice out last year. And obviously we know Rashee Rice is having trouble staying out of the news. So, is there any interest in, stashing a Tyquan Thornton?
I mean, like best ball, yeah, like best ball, deep leagues only. It just seems like whenever, if it's not Kelce and when it hasn't been Rice, it's kind of just been any one random guy on a day could be the guy. I mean, let's not forget Xavier Worthy's still a rostered player there. So, yeah, not a ton of interest.
It doesn't get the juices flowing for you, huh?
No juices moving around right now.
All right, that's enough with the Chiefs here. Let's move on to our next winner here, which we put down as the Dolphins with the Malik Willis signing. go ahead and give me your thoughts on this because I think I'm a little colder on it than you are, but I want to hear your take here.
Yeah, I mean it's just based on them having what I'm projecting to be a decent quarterback option, right, compared to what Tua was doing last year and just kind of what was going on there. I think Malik Willis gives them something different. I think it's also in terms of maybe projecting what the worst case scenario could have been for like an Etienne, a Waddle, and anybody else there. This is definitely one of the better case scenarios coming into the out of free agency and into the like after the off season. So maybe it's more of a it didn't go horribly wrong. We didn't end up with I don't know Carson Wentz or Mariota
Oh no,
quarterback option.
you're
Oh,
back.
we good?
We lost you
All
for a
right.
second.
Yeah, they ended up with a decent quarterback option. So just in that sense, they're winners. Where I guess to me, it didn't go horribly wrong. I'm not projecting Malik Willis to be, top end or really give a giant boost. Overall, I think it'll just be better and it'll be a bit more consistent than it was in the years previous.
Yeah, I I don't I don't know how to feel about this offense. I want to believe in it, but I don't know. I guess just past experiences have me very skeptical with new head coach, new offensive coordinator. We have what I consider to be an unproven quarterback. Even though we have weapons that we like in that offense, it just makes me very hesitant to want to buy into that. I mean, I had a deal on the table where I could have gotten Jalen Waddle and HN. I would have had to send away Justin Jefferson to get into it, which, to be honest, like made me nervous getting into those two players. Given the situation, it just felt like putting a lot of chips into a basket that I didn't necessarily felt good about. But I am, you know, I see an upside to it, or I see a path for it to be relevant, right? I mean, we have is his name Hafferly, right? I think is the head coach's name from Green Bay. So he has ties to Malik Willis. I'm sure he has a vision for how he wants to use him. They brought over who was the guy that was in Houston, from 2024 to 25, the offensive coordinator that we all hated. He comes from the Shanahan and Mike McVay tree. He's over there. The last time we saw him running an offense was with Houston not last year, but in no, yeah, in 2025, and it didn't really go well. He got fired, I think, like halfway through. But then again, too, is like, was it the offensive line or was it him? They also didn't really have a running back, which is, what the McVay system and Shanahan system want. They need like a weapon in the running game to kind of base that whole run pass option around and making the reads and stuff. So I don't know. I'm cautiously optimistic, I guess, about the Dolphins.
Yeah, I could see that. I just it's all like how badly I think it could have gone. I guess that's where my
Yeah.
positives are for it. But yeah, I can see that Malik Willis is not something to completely pop bottles and go crazy over. But maybe this team will be somebody you will be doing that over on the next team we're going to talk about here.
Hell, let's go, baby. 49ers with the Mike Evans signing, with more details coming out about the contract. I love the contract now. Initially it was reported as a 3-year contract for 60 million, but I think it ends up being, more like 14 million a year with some front-loaded guaranteed money and then also incentives baked into that. So I'm loving it for what the 49ers did. I think they got probably the best free agent wide receiver on the market. Granted, this car does, if you open up the Carfax on it, you see quite a record of accidents that have happened. There's, man, I don't even know if people are joking about it anymore, but the whole thing with the substation next to the practice facility, it's starting to feel like it's becoming like people believe like it's an actual thing. And I just I don't know what to make of it. Like I can't tell if it's just a joke that's gone too far or if it's one of those things where we talk about it so much that it becomes like a fact. You know, like isn't there like a theory or something like that they where that happens?
I don't know. I just know that like in terms of like injuries, I don't even the 49ers are up there, but I mean there's tons of other teams that I think they're not even the most injured since like the last like 5 to 10 seasons where whenever the substation supposedly got started. So yeah, I mean it's just a thing that like I think people grab onto and they don't really like know the science or anything, and they're just like, oh yeah, some guy made a post that sounded smart, it made sense, so like yeah, that's probably what's going on, right? And I mean, I mean, NFL players don't go to Harvard or Ivy League schools, so like, sure, there's players themselves that believe
Mm.
that shit, and like are like, I gotta wrap myself in tinfoil. I don't know what it is. Yeah, I mean, Mike Evans, it's San Francisco, so he's if you're comparing him to like a car, he's gotten broken into a few times. You can't leave a car in San Francisco parked or something. That's what they say. But I mean, I think it's great. I think it fits. It's a huge target void. It's good for Brock Purdy.
Yeah.
Kyle Shanahan is going to exploit the crap out of Mike Evans' ability to stretch the field, run great routes, great hands, everything. It's all just can he stay healthy, right? Like
Yeah.
if he can play 17 games, then he's going to be a top 12 wide receiver and go for 1,000 yards. How many touchdowns will Brock Purdy throw to him? Like especially at the beginning of the season when Kittle's going to be out. There's literally nobody. It's him and CMC. So like the AARP cards are flying through at the 49ers residency. But hey, you love it if they can stay healthy. That's, I
Yeah.
think, the only thing. I mean, the 49ers are winning. I don't know what Ricky Pearsall is. When is he going to be
Uh,
healthy and able to produce? I'm not really sure. I think his time has kind of come and gone. Um,
he's definitely
and
flashed, right? I mean,
yeah,
we have hopes. It's one of those things where we've seen it, but we just haven't seen it enough. And I think Mike Evans is going to be like this year's Devonte Adams, right? Where it's just, what did he get like 13 touchdowns or did he get more than that last year? I don't remember how
I,
many he had.
I think it was right around there, and then he got hurt for the last like 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, and then also to note, Jake Tongas got an extension for 2 years, and I think it was like 12 million with incentives or something like that. So
Yeah,
if
it,
Tongas
it,
is out there on your waivers, you need to go
yeah,
pick him up. I doubt he is, but just in case, go get him because I think he's going to be a big piece of this offense with Kittle coming off slow from that Achilles injury.
100%. Yeah, yeah, and I think it was 14 touchdowns for Devontae last year. So,
14.
yeah, I mean, you could totally see that for Mike Evans, and you could also totally see him having a very very explosive uh, season with his ability to continue to run deep routes and stretch the field. So
For
overall, I
sure.
think it's all good for the 49ers. It helps keep the line a little bit less stacked for CMC as well. So nothing but good things. I mean, from your team moving on to my team, I mean, we talked about it pretty much a lot at the early stages of free agency because the Cowboys is who we're talking about. Signed Javante pretty early, tagged Pickens. They're winners just because they kept the same team that was one of the best offenses for fantasy last year, even if a little bit down the stretch, CD and Dak slowed down a bit. But I mean, Pickens and Lamb together could be top five. We saw that Dak can do it. Javante, 1,100-yard rusher, double digit touchdowns. So I think just in general, they're winners because they kept their group together.
Hmm.
They did a little bit of on the offensive line. They're going to get two, I think, starters back, their center and one of the guards. So I think overall they're just winners because they were able to keep the whole thing together. I think Pickens will get a long-term deal done here at some point. So that's kind of what I'm projecting. So that's how I'm treating the Cowboys as winners, just due to that fact.
So, what about the fact that they made like pretty good moves on defense too, right? And so, are we kind of worried that maybe their defense will be better, which may change their offensive philosophy and kind of bring down the ceiling for their offensive pieces?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know if they're going to have to be coming back from 20-point games, but I think the a lot of the moves they made is because they're moving to a 3-4. The defensive coordinator they brought in from the Eagles, that's what he runs, and basically they didn't have a starting corner. Basically, like I mean, they kept a couple of them, but mostly their linebackers still need a lot of help. Their safety still needs a decent amount of help. I mean, that's what they're projecting to be picked in the first two picks. I mean, they're the first two first round picks they have this year are probably going to a safety and a linebacker if it falls that way. So I think it still has a little bit of work to do. I wouldn't expect it to be a bottom five defense anymore, just because the coach they have and they are making the personnel changes. But I definitely don't think it's going to be anywhere like a radical change. So maybe less games where they're coming from behind, but I think in general still a pretty mediocre to bad defense.
You're buying in, aren't you?
I hate it. I don't like to talk about the Cowboys for that reason, because man, I mean, Jerry Jones still went out there and said we're gonna break the bank and we're gonna do all this, and I mean, you didn't sign Hendrickson, you didn't trade for Max Crosby, you didn't,
Hey, they still will.
Yeah, right. But I mean, hey, like if the two players that they talked a lot about in Sunny, what is it, Sunny Styles? Why is that? Why do I want to say that? I don't know if that's right. It can fall to them at 12, and then they can get a good safety or corner. Unfortunately, I will be bought in, and if Pickens signs, but
Let's go.
Hey, man, that's a problem for future Jose to worry about in 3 months, where get all hyped up.
I'm gonna ask you because I know you already know this. What's their win total on the Vegas line?
Oh man,
you don't know
the Vegas line?
Man.
I don't know. It's probably I would say it's probably like 9.5, maybe.
All right, I'm gonna look it up really quick. Let's move on to the next team. I'll follow.
Yeah, the next one is the Vikings. I mean, Jay Jettis is back, or is he? I don't know. I mean, it depends on what you believe on about Kyler Murray. But yeah, I think the Vikings as a whole. I mean, we thought Jay Jettis was quarterback proof. Apparently, like if you got a guy that can't even complete passes, it's not possible for Jay Jettis to do what he does. But I think Kyler Murray throughout his career has demonstrated he can be decent for fantasy. He's held up decent wide receiver totals. So I think all accounts project that Kyler Murray should be able to be 9 out for the starting job. And in overall, that should just be better for the offense. Whoever the running back is, I know Aaron Jones restructured. He's still there. Jordan Mason is still there. I don't hate either of those guys as like late round flyers, or guys to trade thirds for as backup and kind of flex guys. And then overall, yeah, like I think it's an upgrade. I like it for Kyler too. If he can, he's the next Sam Darnold project. Maybe he has a chance to get a long-term extension, or at least a 3-year some sort of deal there done. And he was the guy that they picked, right? I think the bells for Kyler going to the Minnesota kind of started very early on when it looked like he was going to get cut. So it seems like that's who KOC wanted. And yeah, I just overall think it's going to be a lot better. So
yeah, I tend to agree with you there. And Jay Jettis is back, man. He's got to be, right. It's Hawkinson. I feel like he was so bad last year, but I mean, it's not like they had anyone competent with the ball, but it's not like Kyler Murray ever dished the ball out to Trey McBride either. So is it like Jordan Addison? I don't know, man. Like it's gotta be Jay Jettis. Like he's probably starving over there. He's like, you're gonna throw me the ball. Look, he picks him up, right? So he can see it and look him in the eyes, and he goes, "You're gonna throw me the ball." That's what he's gonna do.
Yeah, like the way you pick up like your toddler when they're having a little tantrum. You're like holding them. You're like, "Hey," and he's telling him, "Hey, just throw me the ball. You know where I'm running my route. I know you can't see me down there. Just throw it. I'm down there. I'm there. I'm there. Don't worry about it. And if you throw a pick, well then you could get yelled at. I don't care."
All right, I'm following up on the Dallas Cowboys line. It's actually kind of shockingly high, 8.5 wins, with the over. The over being the favorite. So
to win more than 9 games. I mean, but yeah, I mean they're playing a second to last place schedule, so that probably plays a role into it. Yeah, I mean that feels about right. I mean that gets you in the playoffs, maybe the last wild card, depending. on how some other teams
I
do. So
guess
whatever.
I don't know. Yeah, I guess that puts them like pretty average. Like some of the
Yeah.
other teams as we're looking, yeah, I guess maybe that's fine. But okay, let's keep moving here. We're gonna blitz through these last three because they all kind of fall under the same category with offensive line moves that are kind of moving the needle for pieces on this team. And we kind of shouted it out on the last episode or the emergency drop episode, but the Raiders with their offensive line signing their new center, Tyler Linderbaum. Great news for Mendoza and also Ashton Genty in general. I'm kind of buying into Ashton Genty breakout season here, man.
Yeah, I mean, it's if he can somehow get to the line of scrimmage without getting hit, we saw what he could do. The talent didn't just evaporate. It's hard when you are, 4 yards in the backfield getting hit every single time. Like it's incredibly difficult. It's hard when your team can't get near the goal line for you to score touchdowns. So everything else I think points to we get to see Genty's, somewhat true potential. Obviously, a center is not like the entire key, but I mean, it is a
Right.
very big piece to the O line. That is the captain of the O line, and they pretty much got one of the best centers in the NFL now. So,
Right.
Mendoza coming in, should be a decent upgrade to Geno. You got a pretty good
Hopefully.
offensive court. Yeah, I mean, we're not, huge Mendoza people here, but I mean, in terms of how bad Geno Smith was playing last season, you feel like it has to be a decent upgrade. You got to upgrade a coach. So Brock Bowers, we think, this is only good for Brock Bowers, only good for, Genty, as we spoke about. And who's the starting wide receiver there? Is it Petch? Is it who is it? I know
Dante Thornton.
Dante Thornton. I know you in the notes you mention of Jalen
Hey,
Naylor,
man.
but I mean,
We
I don't. Is it just Brock Bowers 100 and
Yeah, pretty much.
300 targets or what? What's
I I think Jalen Naylor is a solid complementary piece. At best, like a very deep league player, a best ball play. I don't think he's gonna get crazy points here, but I could totally see him getting 80 targets in this kind of offense, right? And turning that into 60 catches for 700 yards, like at best, right? Toss in a few touchdowns or something like that. Who knows? I mean, they still have two first round picks that are pretty high, right? Oh no, sorry, that's right. The Ravens took that one back, so they just have that one first round pick.
Yeah, I mean it's Trey Tucker, I guess, is all there, and I mean in terms of Jalen Naylor, I think you nailered it right with what type of person and what
Yeah.
kind of fantasy football relevance he's gonna have. We can kind of probably hit
Yeah,
the
let's
other
do it.
guys.
The next offensive line moves that we saw were the Browns. They re-signed their productive guard from last year. Jenkins is his last name, and they also signed another guard, Zion Johnson. I think he came over from the Chargers, and they brought in a center, Elgton Jenkins. So they're making some moves for their offensive line, which you like to see. And you have who's the coach, the offensive coordinator from the Ravens last year? That's their head coach now.
Monken.
Yeah, Munkin as the head coach there. So you already know he's an old head who's going to want to run the ball. It's kind of,
Wants to run the
I
ball.
mean, like, tell me I'm wrong.
Uh,
Quinshon Judkins is getting a pretty big boost here. And I don't know who the quarterback is, but you got to, it's a good
who
thing.
it is.
It's a,
You know who it is.
it's a good thing. They're going to, I honestly don't. Who are you referring to?
Masseuses beware. I don't know. I mean, we
Oh,
can leave it
man.
there. I
Is
think it's going to
he?
be Watson. I think it's going to be Watson. I genuinely think like I don't know what Purdue. I mean, not that I'm a big Shador Sanders fan, but I don't know what that poor kid did to somebody. But like, you clearly don't want to be starting him. I think they're just going to roll out Watson there just because of the tons of money they're giving him and just hoping that he's something worth starting or doing anything with. But
He hasn't
um,
played football in 2
yeah.
years.
I mean, hey, man, I don't know. I guess it could be Shador. Who knows?
All right.
Neither way, it's probably not good. Besides Judkins, I don't
Yeah.
care or want any pieces there or Held Fannin. I think the hype
Yeah.
is maybe if it's still there, I'm probably trying to sell and move on from Harold Fannin. But Otherwise, yeah, man, I think there was we had one more team in this section that you wanted to talk
Yeah,
about.
the Chargers with Hampton and Herbert, they signed guard Tyler Biadasz from the Commanders, and then they also brought in Cole Strange. I think actually Tyler Biadasz is the center. Cole Strange is the guard. Both are great pass blockers and run blockers. And then they also brought over Charlie Kohler from the Ravens, tight end, who's a blocking tight end, and Alec Ingold, the fullback from the Dolphins. So he has ties to Mike McDaniel. So wheels up for Hampton, to be honest. Like I'm feeling really good about that. They did sign the running back from the Ravens,
Keaton Mitchell
Keaton Mitchell. So he's going to be a factor there, but
and
hopefully,
Vidal stayed, right?
yeah, Vidal's there too. Yeah. So there are pieces around Hampton. Hampton probably won't be the volume back that we want him to be, but I expect him to be highly efficient. He was really efficient last year in the touches that he had. I think it was something like 4.3 yards created per touch last year, which is what I was seeing. So that's great. We want to see that, especially with a great offensive line. I think it's wheels up for Hampton. All right, let's take a quick break here, and then we'll dive into the losers that we have. Stinky losers. All right, we are back. We're going to be talking about some stinky losers, and we can't start off with none other than the Indianapolis Colts. What are they doing over there, man?
Yeah, I mean, they spent a lot of money on Alec Pierce. They also gave, a decent amount of money to Daniel Jones, right? So I guess they're projecting him to be the starter, be back at some point. I just didn't love the moves they made, right? They shipped away Pittman, um, and overall, it's doesn't feel great. They don't have a first round pick this year. Overall, it feels like a team that's going to be middle of the pack. Not that great for fantasy unless you really think that Alec Pierce is kind of had the breakout and become a wide receiver one. And without Pitt, I just don't see that happening. But otherwise, yeah, they're the first losers I think we have on the list. Just overspending, hurting their cap space down the road too, after already trading several picks for Sauce Gardner.
Yeah, I'm going to try and keep it abbreviated here. I think they think that they can win with the team that they have. They just need a little bit better of a defense, which they did spend into. I It also feels like the new owner is maybe just trying to do right by the players, and like give them the money that she thinks they deserve. But I would have attacked this differently. I probably would have tagged Daniel Jones, and I would have, or sorry, not sorry, I would have tagged Alec Pierce, and then I would have just let the free market decide what Daniel Jones is and tried to get one of these vet minimums in there and Kyler Murray or Tua and just go forward with that plan. And if no one gets Daniel Jones for, I don't think anyone was going to pay what they paid for him. So I think they would have gotten a lot cheaper and they would have probably had a better season. Okay, let's
Yeah,
move on. Oh, sorry. You
no,
got
no, I
quick
was just
thoughts?
agreeing with you. Just agreeing with you. I mean, if they were on Dynasty Daddy, they'd probably be labeled frauds. Not very.
Oof. Sorry, Indy fans. All right, the Steelers here.
Yeah, I mean, very mid moves, very on brand. Nothing super inspiring. Probably bringing Rodgers back, traded for Pittman. Muddied up the running back room again. Rico Dowdle sharing time with Jalen Warren, and yeah, and it just mid, just bleh all over.
Caleb Johnson, man.
Yeah, I mean, who's that guy?
You mean the guy that fumbled on the special teams play?
The guy that I drafted, unfortunately, several places in rookie drafts
Uh,
last year.
Tried to warn you.
Yeah,
All right, here. The next one we have, you put the Bills on here, and I'm putting a question mark next to them, but you tell me why you think they're losers here.
yeah. I mean, it just felt like an overspend for their um, trade for DJ Moore. Like I don't know if that's I mean maybe that's the best that they could do for a second and that's all they were looking to trade. But it just felt like if other guys were available, if a Mike Evans with the contract that he got was available, I think I would have preferred that as a player over DJ Moore, even with the age. I don't know. It just it felt like a grasping at straws And when you've already been bad at drafting, now you're giving up a premier pick in your second rounder. It just feels like they are trying to fill holes and maybe not going about it the most well thought out way possible. I don't know. That's just kind of how I feel about it. I think other people see it as fantasy. This is good. Josh Allen was still Josh Allen when he was throwing to nobody. If anything, hurts Khalil Shakir. Maybe it upgrades DJ Moore a little bit, but overall, as a team, which is kind of what we're talking about, it just feels very lackluster for what I was hoping they would do at wide receiver. I understand the cap maybe wasn't there specifically, but I feel like they just promoted their offensive coordinator who likes to be run first. So James Cook is going to probably still be the center focal point of the offense. So overall, to me, they were losers in this free agency.
So if I put the line at 140 targets for DJ Moore, are you taking the over or under this year?
140 targets. I think I'd go under.
Okay. Yeah, that says a lot, right? Because I mean, that's not a crazy amount of targets, right? I mean, if he had 140 targets, that'd probably put him right around 100 receptions, maybe a little over. Yeah, I'm curious at what role they're gonna put him into, right? Because I mean, DJ Moore has played a little bit all over the field, but more recently, he's been playing on the outside, and I don't know, like, is he the Keon Coleman replacement? Like, they have Khalil Shakir who really wants to be in the slot, so it would be weird putting DJ Moore as the Z. Like, I get it. Like, I schematically, I don't know what they're gonna do. I think they extended Knox too, so now they have Knox and Kincaid. So maybe they're just gonna run a ton of 12 personnel, and it's just gonna be Shakir and DJ Moore, and we're gonna see what that can do.
Yeah, I forgot to mention that felt like a bad thing too, right? Like if you were a Kincaid manager who's been waiting kind of for Knox to go away, definitely not happening now. It seems like they're going to be kind of an even split, and you're kind of just going to be unhappy with whoever the tight end that you didn't start that gets the touchdown. So I don't know, man. In general, I don't know if DJ Moore has ever had 140 targets, maybe once in Chicago 2 years ago, I think, when he had his probably best year. But otherwise, it's like Stephon Diggs was getting around those sorts of numbers, and I think Stephon Diggs, when he was at Buffalo, was a much better wide receiver. So I don't know. It's hard to see a run-first offense that also has a running quarterback, that will give that sort of volume. But I guess maybe that's what they're bringing him in to be, right? Like that's what you would hope if this is going to go positively.
Yeah.
So,
yeah, I mean, I don't know. To me, like, I don't mind a second round pick on DJ Moore. He's still a relatively young wide receiver, and his contract is fairly cheap for what wide receivers are going for nowadays. I do agree. Like, I would have liked to see them get Mike Evans or take a shot on him, but they also didn't have to roll the dice in free agency in getting that, right? They got DJ Moore before all these moves happened, and they could, sleep at night knowing that they had their wide receiver. So I guess we'll see what comes of it. Let's move on to the next team here, which are the Commanders. Had a very underwhelming and passive free agency. I think we all thought that they were going to make a splash, right? They have a lot of holes on offense to fill, and here we are with running backs, right? They got Rashad White and Jerome Ford on the roster, and JCM is still there. That's Bill Krosky, if you're not hip. And I mean, the biggest signing offensively that they made was Chigo Okonkwo. And is Ben Sennett just dead, man? Is he not good?
Yeah, I think the Senate, maybe in real life and in DC all over, may
I
just
was
be
told he was
used
good,
to-
Jose.
Yeah, I mean, I was told that a lot of senators were good, and we are where we are. But
Sick burn.
yeah, man, them giving that money to Chig makes me think like no, like they clearly think that they needed to do something else now that Zach Ertz, I think, did he officially retire after tearing
No,
his ACL?
he wants to
No?
come back, but he's not
Okay.
signed. He's a free agent right now.
Okay. Well, yeah, I mean, for a team that has Terry McLaurin, and they had a three-headed, very mid committee at running back. It seemed like they could have really used even some of these secondary guys like a Wandale or one of those guys. It seems like they're not doing their best, the best job they can to help Jaden Daniels. It feels like a lot of the opposite of what they're doing with the Bears with Caleb Williams. They're not giving him as many weapons and as many things to succeed as they can. So I think they did do a lot of on defense, which I kind of makes sense. They have a defensive minded head coach in Dan Quinn. So maybe that was their thought, bolster the defense so the offense doesn't need to do as much, but you're not giving Jaden Daniels a ton. What is it, 28-year-old Terry McLaurin, right? Debo's gone.
I think he's 29.
29. You mentioned the running backs that they have. So either, they're hoping to hit in their draft picks, right? Or, I'm not too sure what their thought is for the offense in terms of Jaden Daniels for fantasy and dynasty. You hope he stays healthy so then he can, have that rushing upside. But otherwise, you're not super thrilled, right? That's why they're in the loser section.
Terry McLaurin's 30.
Okay, so I was giving him a
he's
couple
going to
years
be 30,
grace. And
31.
that's their wide receiver one right now, right? And who behind them, right? Like I can't
Luke
really.
McCaffrey?
Yeah, I guess so.
I mean, they did put some depth pieces on the squad. Who they brought back De'Ami Brown for $3 million on a 1-year deal. Van Jefferson also got signed. I don't have any numbers on that, but I mean, what is he more than just a field stretcher? This, especially with the running back free agents that they signed, this screams that they're going wide receiver with their number 9 overall pick or something like that.
Yeah.
So I mean, if we get Carnell Tate or Mekhi Lemon here or Jordan Tyson, I have a feeling that wide receiver is going to get vaulted up in ADP.
100%.
Right.
I mean, would you hate Jeremiah Love there?
No, I wouldn't. But if they win Jeremiah Love, like now, I don't know what that offense is, right? Like it screams like they want to play defense and run the ball, but that just seems like a waste of Jaden Daniels' talent and skill. And yeah, I don't know. Like I wouldn't hate it. I would love it for Jeremiah Love, but I would be confused for what the Commanders want to be.
100%.
All right, next one, the Patriots, kind of same thing, underwhelming, very passive. They got Romeo Doubs. They got their guy. I mean, hey, I don't hate Dobbs. I think Dobbs is a good player. I think he will make a difference on that offense. He'll step into Stefon Diggs' role, is what I imagine. I don't know if he's going to play it as well as Stefon Diggs. If he's drawing the number 1 pressure or, I guess, defensive back from the opposing defense, we'll see how he can handle that. I really would have loved to see them make a move and trade for Brian Thomas Jr. or AJ Brown. They were rumored to be interested in the market for them, but I assume maybe the price was just too high. But I'm like, screw it, man. Go get your guy. Like, I mean, give Drake May a weapon.
Yeah, same thing kind of as Daniels. I mean, they have some running back help there more so than the Commanders. But yeah, I mean, you'd like them to surround the young quarterback with an elite wide receiver. So hopefully maybe that's just something that's still in the works. And otherwise, yeah, it was underwhelming for offense. They lost Diggs, their primary guy, and brought in Dobbs, who I think most people would think is a downgrade besides maybe the age. But yeah, otherwise, man, pretty mid overall for the Patriots.
How can we, complain too much? They just went to the Super Bowl, so
true.
Maybe they just want to run it back, and where we know nothing. But all right, let's talk about, I guess, the Jets. Like, they're losers always, I guess.
Yeah, it's just that's all. Enough said.
That's it. Yeah. And then the Texans, they didn't really build up an offensive line. So I just was kind of confused there. Like they sent away 2 guys, which I guess made sense from a Texans fan's perspective, asking my friend about it. And then they brought in 1 guy. I believe they brought in a guard who's a pretty good run and pass blocker. But yeah, I don't know. Like I expected more.
Yeah, for a team that struggles so much with their O-line, there were some guys out there that they could have gone, and they really didn't seem like they either had the cap space or were wanting to go make a splash. On offense, they brought in David Montgomery, who's an all right running back, but he kind of just seems like he's replacing Joe Mixon. But otherwise, for a team with a young quarterback who you were hoping is going to continue to develop, it did not seem like they're doing their best to try to keep him upright and not sacked.
Yeah.
So, yeah, man, another team that just seems like they could have done more. And obviously, we're not front offices, but it just seems like they didn't really do the best they could to fix the holes they had.
They invested like more money into their defensive line and safety. And it's like, you guys were so dominant at defense. Like, I don't understand. I guess they did lose. Who'd they lose on defense? They lost a defensive lineman. So maybe that's what they were trying to replace. But if they don't draft offensive linemen in the draft, I'm going to be screaming at them, because it's like, do something. CJ Stroud needs this something.
Yeah, 100%.
All right, man. That's all we got for you guys. Let's hit the outro here. 1 hour, pretty much on the dot. We're getting better at this, man.
Yep, well, better and better, a little bit.
better and better. Hopefully you guys think so. Stick with us. We got lots of fun stuff coming. We're planning out what the offseason is going to look like. I think we're going to try and get a mock draft going here in the next month or so. So look out for that. And if you guys want to be a part of it, drop a comment down below. Maybe we could get you guys in there. But other than that, thank you guys. Jose, sign us out of here, man.
Yep, as always, thank you, Future First Gang, for hanging with us. Please drop a like, comment wherever you can. We're Future First Pod, wherever you get your podcast. Find us on the Player Profiler network now and anywhere else, man. Thank you guys always for the support. We appreciate it.